Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Benna. I'm here once again with another tutorial. I know it's been a hot minute since I uploaded, but here I am to show you this really unique and beautiful design. It's a floral top that I picked inspiration from is it the Shein online shopping app. Saw someone wearing this and I decided, why not make something close to it. So if this is something you're interested in, please keep on watching. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Do recommend anyone who you think would also be interested in doing something like this. And yeah, thank you for dropping by. I hope to see you guys in so many other videos, but for today this is what we shall be covering. Hope you guys will enjoy this, and let's get started. Alright, so this is the image of the inspiration I told you guys about earlier, and this was pretty a hard one to crack, if I'm being honest, mostly because this neck was knitted and I'm not really a knitter, rather a crocheter. So I figured out a way to make something close to this. I made a yoke similar to this but in crochet, and also the floral details were made, I think, with cotton yarn, but personally I used acrylic yarn for these, so mine appear drappier than this. So if you can get a hand on cotton yarn, I would highly recommend you use cotton yarn for this. Also, I have a tutorial ready for the flowers that I'll be leaving in the description box below. So I'm going to just show you how I was able to create my own version of this. So let us get started. Alright, so these are the flowers I was telling you guys about. There's a tutorial for this. I made 26 of these, but later on I only used about 16 because I was just estimating how many I would need. So I would advise you make at least 20 of these, depending on the size you're making for or the length that you want. But I'll be leaving the link for this tutorial below, so let's get started. So to begin, I'll be making the upper detail of the top first, and this is what I call the yoke. And as you can see, I already have mine ready, but I'm going to show you guys how I achieved this. Like I said, it's not knitted like it appeared in my thumbnail, but I created something close to it and something that would fit in a crochet version. So as I said, I used acrylic yarn and I doubled my strand for this. So if you can get your hand on a medium weight yarn, cotton yarn will obviously be more stiff if you want more stiff flowers. And yeah, you'll also be needing a 4mm crochet hook and also a 4.5. These are going to both be working on the yoke. Excuse me, I'll show you how they all come in as we are going. And then you also need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and a measuring tape, so some stitch markers that I have not shown you here, but you will need many of those. Excuse me. So to begin, we are going to start with a 4mm hook. So you're going to start off by making a slip knot, and we are going to make a chain that is equivalent to 1.5. This is going to be the height of the ribbing at the neck. So personally, I made 8 chains for this. So make your chain that is equivalent to 1.5, and after you're done, if you want this longer, it's also okay, but mine is 1.5 inches wide. So you're going to chain up one more, and then we're going to do the second chain from the hook with a single crochet to the next stitch. Make a single crochet into the next chain stitch, make one single crochet into the next, and we're going to single crochet till the end of this row. You should have something like this for row 1. For row 2, you're going to chain up 1 and turn your work. And you're going to start making single crochets in the back loops of these previous stitches we made. So get that back loop stitch only, back loop only, and make a single crochet into the next back loop, make a single crochet into the next back loop of the next stitch, into the next, do the same. Do this till you reach the last stitch, and to that last stitch we shall be single crocheting into both loops, not the back loop. In the last loop, the last stitch, sorry, single crochet into both stitches. So I'm going to show you this one more time. Chain 1 and turn your work, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the back loop. That stitch that is further away is the back loop. So basically you're going to do the same thing. And into the last stitch, go into both loops with a single crochet like this. So you're going to keep on repeating this pattern until we achieve a length that is going to be equivalent to our head circumference, because this allows us to pass through the head, and it has to make sure that we have to make sure that it's able to do so. So basically this ribbon row has to be our head circumference, but less by a couple of inches as it's very stretchy. So you're going to keep on going with this row, these rows, until you build up to your head circumference. And for me, the head circumference I considered was 21 inches. Yours might be 22 or 20, but you're going to get whatever head circumference you have minus 2 to cater for that stretch. So I'm going to work my ribbon rows until I get a length of 19. Like by the time I measure this ribbon, it should measure 19, but without stretching it should measure 19 inches. Just use your head circumference minus 2 inches. Build your rows till you get that measurement. I'm just going to keep on going and making sure that you have the same number of stitches so that your edges remain straight. I hope that is clear. So if you had 8 stitches, make sure you still have 8. If you had 9 stitches, make sure you still have 9. So let's meet after you're done. So I'm done with my rows. Also, if I did not mention earlier, these rows you must make sure you have an even number of rows. This yoke is going to be built with even numbers mostly. So for mine, I have 76 rows. You should also have an even number of rows. So now we are going to join this on the sides. So you're just going to hold your piece together. I'm going to chain up 1 and turn. Then I'm going to bring the right sides together, and I'm going to close this off with single crochets still. So you're going to just align the work properly and join a stitch with its equivalent stitch on the opposite side. You can also use a darning needle or a slip stitch to join this. For me, I'm using single crochets, making sure that I don't skip any stitch and making sure that everything is aligned in the proper way. Just make sure you're balancing everything out properly. Like that. So when you're done with that joining, you're going to remove your hook gently and flip your work gently, making sure that it does not get twisted as you do this. You have to be careful. Make sure that the ribbon does not get twisted when you flip it over to the right side. So this is what you should be having for the neck detail for now. Our ribbon row is done, and now it's time for us to switch to the 4.5mm hook, which is going to work the part that is going around the chest area. So after we have flipped our work, we are going to chain up 2, and this won't count as a stitch. We are going to start making double crochets into these rows that we worked, these rows that made the ribbon. So each row is going to get 1 double crochet. So make 1 double crochet into each and every row, and the number of rows that you made should be the number of double crochets you have at the end of the day. So make sure you also cross check. So place 1 double crochet into each and every row. If you had 70, you should have 70. If you had 80, you should have 80. But remember, I said it should be an even number. So go all the way around, placing 1 double crochet and cross check your number of stitches. When you're done, make sure it is an even number. I'll meet you guys after that. So I'm done. Went all the way around with my 76 double crochets, and I'm now going to fasten off by making a slip stitch on top of the very first double crochet. So for the next row of the body of this yoke, we are now going to do something a little bit different. We are going to make some increases. So we're going to chain up 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, and make 1 double crochet into the first double crochet. Into the next double crochet, make 2 double crochets. Make 1 double crochet into the next. Make 2 double crochets into the next. Make 1 double crochet into the next stitch. In the next stitch, make an increase, which is 2 double crochets. 1 in the next. The next one, we are making 2. So this is the pattern you're going to repeat all the way around. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, all the way around until you come back to the beginning. And I'll meet you when you're done with that. So keep going with the pattern. Alright guys, I'm done, and I went all the way around making the alternations between 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets. And still, when you're done, I want you to count this number of stitches that you've made all the way around, and make sure you have an even number. So if at all you reach the last stitch and you don't have an even number, you can maybe do away with 1 stitch. That's like at the end. If you have 2 double crochets at the end and you don't balance to have an even number, just make sure that whatever you do, you have an even number at the end. I don't know if that makes sense. Personally, I was able to get 114 stitches by the time I was done. Just make sure you also have an even number, because this yoke is worked better if we have even numbers. So for my case, I was able to end up with 114 when I worked this pattern all the way around. Feel free to eliminate one stitch if it's not giving you an even number at the end. Okay, so now we are going to see how to fasten this off. Make sure that you've cross-checked. I cannot emphasize this enough. So when that is done, you're going to go on top of the very first double crochet. You're going to make a slip stitch. Okay. So also for this top, I'm demonstrating for a size small to medium, but if someone is larger, you can make another round of increases. That is, you'll make 2 double crochets, then increase, 2 double crochets, then increase. So right now I want to show you what we are going to do to create the corner details of our top. So as I said, you have to have an even number, so yours might be 120, 140, but mine was 114. Just make sure you have an even number of rows for whichever size you're making for. So you're going to get that number and you're going to divide it by 2. That number that you have around, it will give you a certain value. Let me say it will give you like x, and then you're going to get that x and divide it further into 2. Okay, and whatever value you get, that is going to, because we're going to start dividing this yoke into the chest and so the armholes. So the value that you get for x divided by 2 should give you the number of stitches you're going to have for the chest area. So let me go ahead and calculate what I'll have for mine. So after dividing 114 by 2, I get 57. When I divide 57 further into 2, it will give me, just a minute, 28.5. But I'm going to round this off to 29. If you get a 0.5, just round it off to the nearest whole number. So I have 29. That means I'll have 29 stitches for the chest area, both at the front and at the back, to cover the front and the back section. But I'm going to demonstrate this to you guys later with the actual yoke. Hope I'm not confusing you. So you're going to get that number, the 29. Okay, since we are having 2 chest areas at the front and the back, I need to get the total number of stitches that will be at the front and at the back. So that will give me whatever value you got after dividing x by 2. You're going to add it together. So I have 58 after that. Okay, those are together for the stitches both at the front and the back. The total of 58. So I need to know how many more stitches I have that are going to create the armhole. But let me introduce the yoke just to explain this better. Okay, so the chest area I'm talking about is this flat section here that you're looking at. The one that makes the 29 stitches is this front section here. Okay, and also the one that is at the back side. So both these sides will have 29, and then also the last one at the back will have 29. That's why I say 29 plus 29 to have a total number of stitches for the chest, so that when I'm going to get the stitches for the armhole, I just less the 114 by the 58. Just follow the exact figures you have and do what I'm doing. So 114 minus 58, that will give me will give me 56. Okay, so I have 56 stitches which I need to divide further to get my armholes. Okay, these are the number of stitches I'm going to be working with to get my armholes. You see these parts that are in the sides, okay, these open sides, the armholes where our sleeves will go. Okay, so to get that, remember I have a total of 2 armholes. Okay, so if you get whatever number you have gotten and further divide it into 2, since we have 2 armholes. Okay, so I'll get my 56 and divide it by 2, and that will give me 28. Okay, but this 28 I need to also cater for the corners in between the armhole and the chest area. Okay, so you can see these V-stitch corners here. We have some V-stitch corners here that separate the armhole and the chest area. See, we have one at the front and one at the back, so those are a total of 2, and you need to create provision for these corners. So you're going to get I'm going to show you how we are going to do that, but I hope you've understood that we have these corners in between the chest area and the armhole. Guys, the yoke is the most difficult part of this tutorial, but you'll get it with time as we go. So you're going to get 28, and you're going to lace it by those two corner stitches that we have at the front and at the back, because we need to cater for them, so we're going to do away with them. So I'll get my 28 minus 2, it will leave me with 26. So these are the number of stitches we shall have at our armhole. So in conclusion, I'm just making a brief summary here. I'll be having 29 stitches personally at my chest area, and my armhole will have a total of 26. Okay, that is a brief summary of how I'm going to build my yoke. Okay, so just go ahead and use this similar formula to get all your chest and armhole measurements, and I'll start to show you how we are going to now implement this into the work. So once again, I've introduced the yoke. So remember, we had ended with our slip stitch, so you're going to chain up 3 from where you ended, and this chain 3 counts as the chain 2 counts as a double crochet, and the chain 1 will be a chain 1 space, because now we want to first start by creating a corner. So you're going to chain up 3 into that very stitch. You're going to place a double crochet. So that is our V stitch, which is the corner stitch, first corner stitch. Okay, so now we are going to first start by making the stitches at the armhole. So get the number of stitches that you had gotten for your armhole, and mine were 26. You're going to start with the armhole stitches, so you're going to make your armhole stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and make a total of 26 double crochets. Make the number of stitches that you had calculated and gotten for your armhole, and I'll meet you when you're done with that. So here I am with my 26 double crochets, exclusive of that V stitch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 and 26. Make sure you don't count the V stitch which we made first. Okay, so after the armhole stitches, we are going to make another V stitch corner. So we're going to make a double crochet, chain up 1, and another double crochet into the same the same stitch. So we separated the armhole from the chest area. So now we are going to make the double crochets for the chest area, and mine are 29. So you're going to make the number of stitches that you calculated and got for your chest. Mine were 29, so I'm going to go ahead and make a total of 29 double crochets. make the number of chain stitches for your chest, and I'll meet you after that. Alright guys, I'm done. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 and 29. So this is my chest area, as you can see. And now, and this is the armhole. Okay, so I'm going to make another V-stitch or corner. So I'm going to make a double crochet, chain up one, and another double crochet into that same stitch. And now we are going to work another armhole. You're going to make another armhole, and my stitches for the armhole were 26. So make the stitches you had for your armhole next after. Let's go ahead and make your stitches. So I'm done with my 26 stitches from that V-stitch. Okay, so this V-stitch is created the provision between the armhole and the chest. So I'm going to make another V-stitch, double crochet, chain one, and another double crochet, and this should leave you with the remaining stitches should be equivalent to the chest stitches you had gotten. So I should have 29 stitches left. If you had 30, you should have 30 left. Okay, these remaining stitches are equal to the number of chest stitches we calculated. So let me go ahead and work the remaining 29. So from where I left off, I'm going to make 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and lastly 29. So make sure that the remaining stitches just balance with what you calculated for the chest, your chest area. So this is what you should be having for the yoke. Let me just arrange it. I'm going to get some stitch markers and show you better. So I was able to put stitch markers at the the corner points. So you can see we have our chest and our armholes. The V stitches, the armholes are the ones at the side. The chest area is the flat area that appears both at the front and at the back. So I'm now going to go ahead, excuse me, and close this off by making a slip stitch in the middle of that first V stitch. Excuse me, that we made. So make a slip stitch in the middle of that V stitch, and I'm going to just make one more row of this. So after making that slip stitch, you're going to chain up 3, which is a double crochet and a chain 1, and into that very first V stitch you're going to make another double crochet in the middle of it, and then you place a double crochet in the V stitch, double crochet, don't skip it, and then you place one double crochet into each and every stitch. At this point you don't really have to count because we established the number of stitches we want for our chest and armholes, but just make sure you don't skip any double crochet and don't skip any V stitch. So I'm going to make one double crochet all the way around until I reach the next corner or the next V stitch. So I'll meet you back towards that stitch marker. So I'm at the point here where we have the V stitch, and I see that I can work the double crochet into that double crochet from the V stitch. I said we shouldn't skip it, so remove the stitch marker and go into the middle of the V stitch to make a double crochet, chain up 1 and another double crochet in the middle of the V stitch, and then you're going to place a double crochet on top of that double crochet that made the V stitch from below. Don't skip it, make a double crochet there excuse me, and keep going with one double crochet, one double crochet till you get to the next V stitch. So this is what you're going to do all the way around. When you reach the next V stitch, make a double crochet before you get into that chain 1 space, then make a V, then make a double crochet into that double crochet from the V. Just make sure you don't skip any stitch and go all the way around, and I'll meet you when that is done. Alright guys, so I'm done with the pattern, and I'm going to make a slip stitch into the middle of that first V stitch. And this is it for our yoke. I wouldn't advise you to do so many of these because it's not so long. Okay, just make sure it's able to stop at least 2 or 3 inches before your chest or your bob area. It should sit like, should I say, like on your collarbone and slightly below. Mine measures about 3 3/4. And for this orange one, I was just giving you a sample the yoke, but I'm going to reintroduce my actual yoke that I'll be working with. But go ahead and do something close or similar to this, and I wouldn't advise you to go beyond 4 inches. So this is my original yoke, which I'll be using for today's video, and as you can see it measures 3 3/4. You can have it 3.5 or 3. Yeah, in fact I think 3 is better, as this is acrylic as I said, and it's really stretchy. But yeah, just don't go beyond 4 inches. So go ahead and finish up the yoke, and now it's time for us to bring in the floral details that we shall be attaching to this yoke now to make the rest of the top. Okay, So after you're done, fasten off where you ended, and let's meet after that. Okay guys, so I went ahead and placed stitch markers once again at the corner points and also in the middle points of the yoke, both at the front and the back. And for this I just folded the work in half, and I was able to place stitch markers where that folding is in the middle, because you're going to attach flowers at these points where the stitch markers are. So you're going to grab onto your florals or your flowers, and yeah, this first flower we're going to be working with I wanted to attach this with a 4mm hook, but it was actually so hard for my hook to go through. So I'm going to just grab onto any small hook that you have. This is a 2.5. So in the middle or the tip of that flower, the tip of the petal, just insert your yarn, and we're going to place a stitch marker in the the middle of the chest area. So remove the stitch marker from the middle, the midpoint, and grab your yarn. I made a slip knot already. Just make a slip knot on your yarn and grab it with your hook, and pass it through the chest area and the flower, and make a very firm chain one. Make sure it's firm, but don't worry, I'm going to knot these up later. Also, I advise when you're attaching these flowers, make sure you use a double-stranded yarn or thread, so that we're going to make very tight knots after. So you're going to pull through your yarn after that. We shall be making double knots. So I have the first flower that is in the middle of the chest, and I'm also going to attach a flower into the V-stitch or the corner. So I'm going to make a slip knot with my yarn, and I'll grab another flower, and then remove the stitch marker from the corner, insert my hook into that V, and get the tip of the petal, and yeah, insert it into the V and then pull my yarn through. Excuse me, and make a very firm chain one. Just tightening it over there. I wanted to also go back on it with a single crochet, and just make it firm. I tried this, but I did not like that little loop it gave me at the top, so I decided to do away with it, because it did not look so neat to me. So I just left it at the chain one, and then I cut excuse me, I did not like the way the single crochet looked. There was a weird ball at the top, so I just went ahead attaching it by just making a very firm chain one and leaving some strands that I could double knot. So you're going to do the same thing for the rest of the points that have the stitch markers. Okay, place one flower at the next corner, at the next corner at the front, in the middle of the front or the back. Okay, just make sure you place a flower at all those points where we have stitch markers in the way that I've shown you. Let's meet after that. So I'm done placing flowers at all those points where the stitch markers were, and this is what I have. So we have a flower in the middle, at the corners, on both the front and the back. I'm just trying to arrange them so that you can see them properly. So everything should be aligning like this: front flowers to back flowers. The corners as well should be matching up like this. So the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to push back the flowers at the back behind, and I'm going to be working the front flowers for now, just so that it is more clear. So you're going to just push back those behind flowers. And now we are going to be making connections between the middle flower with the side flowers. You're going to join those tips that I'm holding right now. So I'm going to drop my yarn and make a slip knot. And then I'm going to attach this middle one to the one on the side. So I'll put them right sides together. It's actually not a must to do it like this, but you can as well just attach it without even putting right side on right side, but I always prefer to put the right sides together. So I'll just make a firm chain of chain one at the tips, and then cut. And then pull through my yarn. So you should have something like that. You can also do it on top, it's very fun. And I'm also going to do the same thing for the next flower together with the one in the middle. So you're also going to attach these two together. So I'll grab my yarn and make a slip knot. I'll place them on right sides together and then connect them at the tips. Just like that, and make a very firm chain. Now make sure you don't cut these strands right now, because we have to double knot them. So I've also joined the middle one with the next one at the side, just like I had done before. So after that is done, we are also going to connect the ones at the back. So you're going to get the flowers at the back and join the one from the side front to the one at the side back, the one at the corner on the front to the one at the corner behind. You're going to, where I've placed a stitch marker is where you'll be joining, okay? And then also join the middle flowers at the back the way we are joining them at the front. So it's like we are making just this whole joining around, connecting all the flowers around in some sort of like a loop. I don't know if that makes sense. You see, like what we did at the front is what we're going to do at the back, but make sure you also join the ones at the corners together. It's in a sort of like circular loop of some sort. By the time you're done, your flowers should kind of be joined together in a loop. In the way that I showed you earlier is the way you should join them. So we have placed a stitch marker at the areas where we shall be joining. So go ahead and do that all the way around. It gets a little bit roughly, but we shall eventually arrange it and it will look better. So go ahead and do that and I'll meet you back. So I'm done joining all the way around, front and back, corners and corners. And now I've placed stitch markers. I've placed a stitch marker onto the next flower I would want to attach. So as you can see, the front section has its middle and then its side flowers. So you're going to get a flower and put it in between the middle flower and the side flower at the front. As I said, I'm only tackling the front right now. So in between the middle and the side flower, you're going to place a flower in between those two. Where I placed a stitch marker, just observe what I've done. You need to place a flower there. Okay, and then at the bottom of this middle flower, you will also attach a flower there. At the bottom petals of it, you will attach a flower. Then even this other one at the corner here, okay, you will also attach a flower in between the middle one and that corner flower. And after that flower that has been attached, you'll also attach another flower at the bottom petals. Just follow what I've done. Where I've placed new stitch markers is where we are going to be joining up new flowers. Okay, so let's go ahead and join this. In fact, I'm going to leave you to join them because I already shown how we join them. So join them, I'll meet you back. Alright guys, so I attached those flowers where the stitch markers were initially, and also this flower that was in the middle of the side one and the middle flower, that pink one, will get also a flower at its bottom area. Just like we are done for this one is what we are also going to do for this one at the bottom. Okay, that flower should get another flower at the bottom, and then after that we are going to also close these two in the center to sort of create a connection. Those new flowers that have been made, you're going to also attach them in the middle to create a connection. Then even the ones at the bottom, you will connect them together. This one also will also be connected to that purple one. We're going to make intersections between all of them. Okay, just follow what I have demonstrated. Okay, where the stitch markers are where you're going to be joining up, and then after that you will close off the new ones at the middle points. I know maybe my explanation doesn't make sense, but maybe the visual explanation is better. Just observe my emotion and you understand. So go ahead and join these and I'll meet you after. Okay guys, I'm done joining the front section and this is what we are having for now. So you see everything that we have done here at the front is exactly what we are going to repeat at the back side as well. Okay, the joinings we have made here at the front is everything that's joined here is the same thing. You're going to turn your work to the back side now. Let me just take a moment to arrange this better. So this is the behind part. Okay, you're going to attach in the same way. So you're going to rewind this video and you're going to see how we attached the flowers at the front and attached them the same way at the back. Okay, same thing in the middle of both, at the bottom and everything. Just rewind the video and use the same exact template to join at the back side, and I'll meet you back. Alright guys, so I finished attaching everything in the similar way, and also I went ahead to double knot my strands. Also, another thing I did not mention, I went ahead and I removed some of those stitches that I had attached at the side flowers from the bottom part, because my top was looking longer than I wanted it to. So I eliminated those bottom flowers from the side flowers. So you can just use as many flowers you want for your length, even for your coverage. If you want more coverage, feel free to attach more flowers. So this is the armhole area that I'm holding over here. Make sure before you go to the next step, you have whipped in your ends or tied them up. So we're going to create a connection in between the front and the back. So exclusive of the sleeve area or armhole area, we're going to make a connection here on the side flowers. And that is going to basically give us a connection between our front and our back. So leave that sleeve area here where we have that connection upwards, and you're just going to join the ones in the sides. So I'm done joining the flowers in the sides. You can see where I have those fresh strands. Okay, so now the next thing for us to tackle is our sleeve area, because now we are done with the main body, and what we now have to look at is the sleeve area. This sleeve opening here. So I had already attached some flowers there with my stitch markers, but don't worry, I'm going to show you how I did that. Sorry, I moved a little bit faster, but let me first arrange this. I know this top is quite busy guys, but bear with. Let me first remove the flowers that I had put at the sleeve area. So this is me arranging everything at the, you see this joining at the side, between the side and the back, side front and the side back. That joining we made is the area we are going to be tackling for our sleeve. So over here, this is the sleeve area we are working with. So I'm going to also attach flowers onto that, both at the bottom area. At the bottom flower will get a flower, and also the top flower will get a flower. So just arrange it like you're seeing me here. Let's stitch markers. The bottom one. So the bottom one gets a flower. Then also the one at the top will get a flower. By the way guys, if you want these flowers to be smaller, you can use a smaller hook to make them, because I used a 2.5 for mine. If you feel like they're a little bit big, you can use a hook that's smaller to make them, maybe a 2 or a 1.75, I don't know. For mine I used a 2.5. So I've joined the flowers that make the sleeve area, as you can see. I'm arranging them. So you see this elongated part over here is coming out in some form of like a long sleeve. That this is what we have for our sleeve area. And I want to go ahead and measure out for you guys how long my sleeve is. So when I measure this from the top downwards, without stretching, of course, just arranging it, this gives me about 15 inches. Usually my sleeves are about 16 inches. So me, this is perfectly fine. But if you guys have something shorter, if you want it longer, you add more flowers still in the same way. But as for me, I'll stop here. And these are the flowers that I'll be joining to make my sleeve area. So I'm going to go ahead and join this. Where I've placed the stitch markers is where I'm going to be joining or fastening up. That is at the top and at the bottom. So I was able to join those petals for the sleeve, for the flowers at the sleeve. And also I fastened off the loose strands. Make sure you double knot them tightly, guys. So even here at the bottom area, between the front, the ones at the top and the ones at the back, we are also going to be fastening off. So I'm also going to place stitch markers, those points. Place stitch markers at the the bottom. Sorry, my camera I think here was too zoomed in, but yeah, just observe. So attach the ones at the bottom part as well, where I've placed the stitch markers. Okay, attach that point as well there, but also make sure you're able to have enough room for your cuff when you attach this sleeve. Of course, you're going to do the same thing as well on the other side. I'm going to come back and explain further. So on this other side, okay, you're also going to do the same thing, like the exactly what we did the other side is how you're also going to join this other opposite side. But make sure you try this on and make sure you're able to determine how long the cuff is going to be, because you're going to have a cuff at the end of the sleeve. So just wear your top gently and determine how long you would want the cuff to be, whether you want it to reach up to your wrist or slightly shorter. But just make sure that your long sleeve doesn't reach to your wrist area, because that will not leave enough provision for the cuff. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So go ahead and join the sleeves like I showed on this side. We're going to repeat the same thing to the opposite side. Okay guys, so I was able to work one cuff after making the sleeves, but I'm going to demonstrate to you how I did that on the opposite side as well. Also, another thing I had forgotten, I did not fasten off something here at the sleeve. We had an open sleeve because these flowers, you have to also join them in the sides. The new ones we joined, make sure you also make a joining on the sides of those flowers, otherwise your sleeve will be gaping. When I tried this one, it was gaping, so make sure you also fasten off the top ones and at the sides, the top flowers with the bottom flowers on the sides. So now let's go ahead and make the cuff. So I'm going to grab onto my 4mm hook, and I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to make a foundation chain that is going to be the length of my cuff. That is, mine was up to my wrist area. Yours can be beyond your wrist, above your wrist, but just make sure your chain is long enough to cover the remaining area of the sleeve. So I'm going to make a chain that is equivalent to my 4 inches. This is the length I want for the cuff. So I'm done, and I'm now going to chain up one more. I'm going to the second chain from the hook with a single crochet. I'll make a single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next, make a single crochet into the next stitch, and I'll go all the way around with just one single crochet. Till I reach the end. So I'm at the end, and I'll just make one single crochet there. So this is the row 1, so I'm going to chain up 1 and turn my work, and you're going to do something similar to what we did for the neck ribbing. So you chain 1 and turn your work and make single crochets in the back loop only. One single crochet into the back loops. So when you reach the end, you're going to make one single crochet into both loops. Chain 1, and you're going to repeat this row again. One single crochet into the back loop only of every stitch. Then the last one gets a single crochet into both loops. So you're going to repeat this row until you get the width of the cuff, and that is the measurement at the bottom of the sleeve area. So you're going to get your sleeve like this, and you see that part where we join at the bottom. You're going to take a measurement across there, so that gives me 5 between the stitches in the middle and on the other side. And also here I also have 5, meaning my total width or circumference around my sleeve area is 10. So you're going to make that until you're going to go on with your cuff, building those rows until you get the circumference around the bottom area of your sleeve. Okay, do that. You're going to repeat this row until you get to that measurement. For my case it is 10 inches. So whatever you have, just keep on going, and I'll meet you back when you're done with that. Alright guys, I'm back, and I was able to build my row till I got to 10 inches, as you can see. And now it's time for us to also close this up. So we're going to chain up 1 and turn your work, and we are going to seam this together. and since it's quite long, I like to hold it with some stitch markers so that I don't lose any stitches as I go along, but this is not a must. But for me, I find it easier when I've placed stitch markers. They help me hold the piece together in place. I just go ahead and hold everything together. And now we are going to close off with single crochets. You can also use a slip stitch or a darning needle, but I'm just going to go stitch to stitch with a single crochet, just like we had done for that neck ribbing that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video. So I'm just taking my time to join the stitches. That stitch marker and continue. I just take your time and join this. So finish up joining and I'll meet you guys after. So I'm done joining and this is what you should be having. So I'm going to chain up one and fasten this off. Cut and then pull through. And now I'm going to flip this over to the good side. So this is what you should be having for your cuff. So now to attach this to our sleeve, I'm just going to introduce the sleeve like you're seeing me do here. You're just going to open it up at the bottom area, and then you're going to determine which part goes where. So you see this part that we seamed up is going to work as the middle point. Okay, so just place a stitch marker to determine the middle point on the opposite side, because already that seam line gives us proof of the midsection for one side. Then you're going to place a stitch marker directly opposite that seam line, and you're going to go at the bottom of that open petal and place a stitch marker there at the tip, between the tip of the petal and the cuff. And then you're also going to attach the tip of the other flower onto that seam join or that seam line from the cuff. And that looked twisted, so I turned it and I attached it from the inside instead. So place the tip of the petal onto that seam line and fasten your stitch marker there. And then this is what you should be having for now. So for the sides of the cup, you will just hold them as they are and place stitch markers into the side foldings. Then put a stitch mark into the sides like this, just like that. And then you're going to get these should have something like this. So we've joined the middle petals. Now we are going to join these ones at the side. See, that's that side joining where we joined them, as if we joined those petals like in the sides. Okay, those are that's the intersection that is going to sit on the side of the cuff. Just observe what I'm doing. That section that we tied off is the one that is going to sit on the side of the cuff. So just fasten it with the stitch marker, and also do the same thing on this other side. Like that. So this is how our cuff is going to be attached. Like this. You see where those stitch markers are is where we are going to be joining it up. So let's get our darning needle and do that. So I've threaded my darning needle, as you can see, and now it's time for us to attach these petals to the cuff. So I'm going to be joining over 3 stitches. Okay, you're going to see what I'm doing. You're going to join the middle stitch plus 2 stitches on either side of the stitch marker. So you're just going to thread your darning needle into the side stitch before the stitch marker and into the stitch on one of the petals on the side of the stitch marker and pull through, and go back into the stitch and once again pull through again. You can give with a small circle there. You're going to go back in it and fasten and pull tightly, and then we're now going to remove the stitch marker. You see we've joined on one side so far, so we have 2 more joinings to do. As I said, we're going to be joining three stitches. So go into the middle stitch where the stitch marker was, from the cuff to the flower, and pull through, and then onto the next stitch that was after the stitch marker, and also pull through from the cuff to the petal. So you can see we've made our excuse me, our 3 stitches, like I said, and we're going to go back into that last stitch one more time first, and also just pull through it like this, leaving a small loop, and you're going to go back into it twice to make it very firm. Yeah, so you see we've joined over three stitches, so I can go ahead and cut off my yarn now. So this is what we are having. So I'm going to show you how to join the one at the side. So once again, you're going to thread your darning needle, so thread it with a double strand, and we're going to once again do the same thing. We're going to make a joining at 3 stitch points. So just hold it gently like this. Don't remove the stitch marker for now. You're going to determine this where the stitch is at the side of the stitch marker and go into it from the inside or from the cuff to the flower, onto the flower on the side before the middle, and pull through. And then once again I'll go back into it and fasten, and then I'll go into the middle section, the stitch marker. Once I remove the stitch marker and go into the middle point of those petals, and then I'll pull through. And then into the last stitch, which is the third one on the side of the middle, from cuff to petal I'll pull through. And then I'll go into that last stitch one more time. And this is what we have. Okay? So we join the petals at the side. Okay, so I'm going to go into that last stitch one more time to fasten it off more, from cuff to petal, go through. I'll leave a small loop and go through it twice. Then I'll pull it tight, and then cut my yarn. So I'm going to leave you guys to join the remaining side and middle petals to the cuff. Just rewind this video and see how I did it from before, and you can go ahead and do exactly what I did. Okay, that is the side and this is the middle. And then also the one last thing we shall be doing is to create some decrease at the bottom of the cuff so that it fits better around our bottom hand or at the wrist area. So go ahead and finish chaining up and I'll meet you after that. Alright guys, I'm done with the cuff on the other opposite side as well, and I went ahead to weave in all my ends. And now it's time for us to create the excuse me, the decrease detail at the bottom so that it creates a better fit around our hand. So I'm going to grab my yarn and make a slip knot, and I'll join it to the bottom of the cuff, but in any of the rows just attach your yarn there, make a chain of one there. Then I'm going to chain up one more, so those are two stitches and they don't count as a stitch. So into that very first row I'll make a half double crochet, make a half double crochet into the first stitch, and then we are going to half double crochet two together into the next two. So yarn over, insert your hook, make a half double crochet and just pull through two only. Into the next, yarn over, pull through two, you have three left, and pull through all. So that's the half double crochet decrease. You're going to skip one row, and into the next row you're going to make one half double crochet. Then you're going to make a half double crochet decrease into the next two. So insert your yarn, pull through two, insert your yarn, pull through till you have three left, pull through all, like that. Then you're going to skip one row and then go into the next with the half double crochet. Then you're going to make half double crochet two together, just as you see me do. Left fourth row, skip one, make a half double crochet into the next row, the next stitch, and make 2 half double crochets together. So this is what you're going to be repeating. After every 1 half double crochet, make 2 half double crochets together, skip one, make 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochet together, skip one, till you get back to the beginning. This will create some sort of like reduced effect around the hand area, so that it's not so gapped, so that it's not so open. So keep going with the pattern as I've shown you, making 1 half double crochet, decrease, then you skip, and I'll meet you guys after that. Alright, the measurement around my hand or my wrist area is around 7 inches, but this gives me like 4¼ but it's perfectly fine as it leaves some ease. But if you want this a bit tighter, you can use another decrease round, but as for me, I'm done. I'll just stop at this because it's comfortable enough around my hand area. Okay, so I'm now just going to go ahead and slip stitch on top of the very first half double crochet, and then I'll chain up one, cut my yarn, and then pull through. Okay, so that's basically it for the cuff, guys. You can see I have one there and also one on the other opposite side. Just trying to rearrange this for you. Like I say, this top is quite busy, but let me take my time to arrange this better for you guys. This is the front and the back, and this is the other sleeve. Okay, and that's all, guys, for our tutorial. You just need to be extra gentle as you're wearing this. It takes a minute to figure it out, but you will see the sleeves, you will see the front and the back, and also of course the yoke. Yeah, so that's my second sleeve with its scarf. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Do subscribe. See you in another video. Bye.